They say malls are full of life. Music playing, kids running, people chatting, stores buzzing. But at night, when the gates close and the lights dim, it's like a different world. And I wish I'd never had to see it. I was working a late shift at a big suburban mall just outside of town. It was a temporary gig, part-time night cleaning to make ends meet. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. That night felt like any other. I had my mop, my earbuds in, and a few long hours ahead of me. But something felt off the moment I stepped inside. It wasn't anything big. Just quiet. Too quiet. Normally, there's a bit of noise lingering, the hum of vending machines, the occasional buzz from security radios. But this time, nothing. Like the place was holding its breath. I started in the food court. Empty chairs. Half-eaten fries someone left behind. As I cleaned up, I noticed one of the side doors, the one near the arcade, wasn't fully closed. It stood slightly ajar, the darkness behind it spilling out like ink. I didn't think much of it. Probably just a lazy lock. I pushed it shut and kept going. But then I heard it. Soft footsteps. Not mine. From the upper floor. I looked up, but no one was there. I paused my music. Waited. Nothing. Maybe another cleaner. But I was supposed to be alone that night. I moved on to the next section, past the movie theater. The posters still lit up, frozen in time. That's when the lights above me flickered. A slow, buzzing hum, then darkness. Pitch black. I froze. No warning. No flicker. The entire row of lights just died. My phone was in the cart. I rushed back to grab it, the hairs on my neck rising. As I reached for it, another sound echoed through the hall, a dragging noise, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. I turned on my flashlight. Nothing. Just my cart. The hallway empty. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. Maybe a breaker tripped. Maybe the lights were on a timer. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. And then, every light in the mall shut off. Total silence. Total darkness. I stood there, flashlight in hand, alone in the mall after closing, and I knew I wasn't the only one there. At first, I didn't move. I stood there, frozen, flashlight gripped so tightly my knuckles went pale. The darkness wasn't just empty, it felt alive. Heavy. Like it had weight. I told myself to breathe, and the sound of my own inhale echoed louder than it should have in that space. I decided to head toward the security office. If anyone was still here, it would be the night guard. Maybe he tripped the light somehow. Maybe he'd explain everything away with a dumb joke and a cup of bad coffee. I passed by storefronts, the flashlight beam catching on mannequins that looked a little too lifelike in the shadows. One had its head turned slightly. Was it always like that? I kept walking, ignoring the growing tightness in my chest. When I reached the security office, the door was ajar. That alone was weird, those guys usually locked it. I pushed it open slowly, half expecting someone to jump out. No one. The place was empty. The monitors were all on, flickering in black and white static. Only one of them showed a clear feed. Just one camera. I leaned in, watching closely. The feed showed one of the mall's long corridors, dead empty. But then, for a split second, a figure appeared on the screen. Not walking. Not moving. Just standing. Perfectly still. Too far away to make out any details. And just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. I backed away from the desk, my heart pounding now. I tried my phone again, still no service. Battery at 6%. I had to conserve it. I switched it to airplane mode, shoved it back in my pocket. That's when I heard the metal clang. It wasn't subtle. It was loud, harsh, like a gate being dropped somewhere nearby. I grabbed a walkie from the desk, pressed the button. Hello? Anyone there? This is maintenance. I think I'm locked in. Static. I pressed it again. If someone's playing a prank, it's not funny. Seriously, open the gates. More static, and then a voice. Barely a whisper. But it came through, don't move. I dropped the walkie. That voice didn't sound human. Or if it was, it sounded wrong. Distorted. Like it came from underwater. I turned, shined my flashlight toward the hallway. And saw nothing. But I felt it. That prickling sensation on the back of your neck, like someone's watching you from the shadows. I walked backwards out of the office, keeping the light aimed straight ahead. The corridor stretched in both directions. Dead quiet. I picked the left path, the one leading toward the exits. Maybe one of the emergency doors would work. As I passed the children's play area, the music started. Soft, tinny, out-of-tune carnival music. The kind you'd hear on a broken music box. It was coming from one of those coin-operated rides, the little train with the cartoon face. It was moving. Slowly rocking back and forth. No lights. No power. Just moving. I stopped. A cold sweat broke over me. And then, in the reflection of the train's shiny plastic eyes, I saw it again. A figure. Behind me. I spun around. Light shaking. No one. Nothing. But I was sure I saw it. I ran. Past the food court, past the shoe stores, past everything familiar that suddenly felt like a twisted funhouse version of itself. I slammed into the glass door of the emergency exit and pushed. It didn't budge. I hit the bar again. Harder. Nothing. There was no unlocking it. The metal frame felt like it hadn't moved in years. I was trapped. And then I heard it again. Footsteps. But this time, they were running. Toward me. I didn't stop running until I reached the central atrium. My lungs burned, and my legs felt like lead, but I had to keep moving. Someone, was chasing me. I hadn't seen it clearly, but whatever it was fast. And it knew the mall better than I did. The main atrium was huge, glass ceiling, decorative trees, a dry fountain in the center. During the day, it looked like the heart of the mall. But now it felt like a trap. I ducked behind one of the kiosks, crouching low, trying to silence my own breathing. That's when I heard it again. Footsteps. Not running this time. Slow. Deliberate. Almost like it wanted me to hear. I peeked around the edge of the kiosk. Nothing. But I didn't believe it. It was there, I could feel it watching me. I crawled low, made my way to the corridor leading toward the service areas. If I could get to the loading dock, maybe I could find a way out. The doors back there were metal, big, sometimes propped open for deliveries. I had a slim chance. I passed by a row of closed shops, each one darker than the last. One of them, a defunct electronics store, had its gate half raised. I glanced at it and froze. Behind the metal bars, deep inside the shadows, something was standing. Not moving. Just standing. Watching. I didn't wait. I turned the corner and bolted for the service hallway. This part of the mall was rarely used, even during the day. Dimly lit, narrow, and filled with the hum of unseen machinery. The air was cooler here, and every step echoed like a shout. I tried a door labeled, emergency exit. Locked. Another one, maintenance room. Also locked. I was running out of places to check when I found the storage room. The door creaked open with a gentle push. Inside, shelves lined with old displays, dusty signage, forgotten decorations. It looked untouched for years. I slipped inside and shut the door behind me, plunging the room into near-total darkness. Only my flashlight gave me vision, its beam slicing through the dust. I sat down for a moment, trying to catch my breath. That's when I saw them. Notes. Dozens of crumpled papers scattered across the floor. I picked one up. Don't look it in the eyes. Another, it moves when you blink. I flipped through more of them. Some were torn, others stained. One had a small map drawn on it, parts of the mall I didn't recognize. It had X marks and arrows, but no labels. In the corner was a name, Tony H. Tony was a janitor. Years ago. I remembered seeing a plaque near the break room once, a memorial. They said he died in an accident. But these notes were fresh. The ink wasn't faded. Someone had left them recently. Then I heard it. Scratching. Not loud. Just gentle, steady scraping on the other side of the door. Like nails against metal. I killed my flashlight. Held my breath. The scratching stopped. Then, 3 slow knocks. I didn't move. After a long moment, the sound faded away. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. I wasn't sure. My sense of time was gone. I turned the flashlight back on, aimed it at the shelves. That's when I saw a box marked "Lost and Found." Inside, among the forgotten scarves and sunglasses, I found a key ring. It had half a dozen keys, all unlabeled. I pocketed it. Then I noticed something else, scratched into the wall behind the shelf. Exit, follow the cold. Cold. I turned off my flashlight again, stood still. The room was warm, except near one corner. The air was cooler there. I moved closer, my breath starting to fog just slightly. A faint draft was coming from the floor. I knelt down, pushed aside a loose panel, and found a grate. A maintenance tunnel. Narrow. Cramped. Barely enough room to crawl. But it was something. And with the thing in the mall hunting me, it was my only way out. I hesitated at the tunnel's edge. The air coming from it was frigid, stale, and it carried a scent like mildew and rust. I couldn't see more than a few feet ahead, but I knew staying in that room wasn't an option. So I crawled in. The tunnel walls were narrow, barely wide enough for my shoulders. Dust clung to every surface, and the metal beneath me groaned with every movement. I could only move forward on my hands and knees, flashlight gripped in my teeth. Each breath felt like it carried the weight of the building above me. Minutes passed, or maybe more. The deeper I went, the colder it got. The silence was so complete I could hear the blood pumping in my ears. Then, in the distance, I heard a soft hum. Mechanical. Rhythmic. Like a generator. I followed it. Eventually, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. It was some sort of sub-basement, way below ground level. There were old lockers, broken machinery, and graffiti-covered walls. This place hadn't been touched in decades. I stood, stretched my back, and looked around. There was a hallway branching off to the right. The hum was louder that way, so I followed it. As I turned the corner, something caught my eye, a large map posted on the wall. It was faded and torn, but it showed the mall's original construction layout. And that's when I realized something chilling. There were sections on the map that didn't exist anymore. Wings of the mall that had been sealed off, built over. One was labeled West Annex, closed 1987. But what disturbed me most was the circle drawn in thick red marker around it, and the word scribbled underneath. Home. I kept moving. The hallway narrowed again, leading to a rusted door. It creaked open with a shove, revealing a long corridor lit by flickering emergency lights. The hum was louder now. And underneath it, whispers. Faint. Indistinct. As if they were just on the edge of understanding. I took a step forward, and felt the temperature drop instantly. Frost clung to the pipes along the wall. My breath came out in visible puffs. The whispers grew louder, faster. My heart pounded, and I forced myself to keep moving, flashlight beam darting across the walls. Then I saw them. Handprints. Dozens of them. Small, large, smeared across the walls in dark, dried stains. They trailed along the corridor, some leading to closed doors, others disappearing into cracks. I didn't touch anything. I passed one door, barely hanging on its hinges, and caught a glimpse inside. A room filled with children's toys. Old. Rotten. Covered in dust. And sitting in the middle was a chair facing the wall, with restraints on the arms. I kept walking. Finally, I reached the source of the hum. A large industrial unit, probably once part of the mall's HVAC system. But it wasn't running. It hadn't worked in years. The sound wasn't real. It was just there. That's when I heard something behind me. I turned fast, flashlight up, and there it was. Not a shadow. Not a person. Something else. Its form shifted like smoke, limbs too long, head tilted unnaturally to one side. It didn't have eyes. Just hollows. But I felt them, those hollows locked onto me. The whispers turned into screams, but they weren't loud. They were inside my head. I ran. Back through the hallway, through the sub-basement, not stopping to look back. The creature didn't follow with footsteps. It glided. I could feel it getting closer, its presence like static crawling over my skin. I dove back into the tunnel, scrambling forward, knees bruising against the metal. It was behind me. I didn't look, I just crawled. Faster. Desperate. The grate behind me clanged shut. I don't know how. I didn't stop to check. I just crawled until I saw the dim light of the storage room again. I tumbled out, slammed the panel shut, and shoved a shelf in front of it. The air was warmer here. The screaming had stopped. But I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. My heart was still racing, but I had to think. I couldn't stay in that storage room, not with that thing still out there. I needed to get out of the mall, and I needed to do it fast. The key ring I'd found had to mean something, some way out had to exist. I examined each key by flashlight. Some were labeled with fading numbers, others completely blank. I pocketed them and pushed the shelf aside from the hidden panel. I wasn't going back into that tunnel, but I had a feeling those keys might unlock doors in the upper service corridors. I cracked open the door to the hallway and stepped out. It was quiet again. Too quiet. I kept my light low and followed the corridor toward the back side of the mall. The kind of area only employees used, emergency stairwells, staff bathrooms, forgotten break rooms. I tried every door I passed. Most were locked. Some opened to nothing but empty storage spaces. Then I reached one marked electrical. The third key I tried clicked it open. Inside was a mess, old circuit boards, bundled wires, and a breaker box labeled in worn-out handwriting. I didn't know what most of it meant, but I noticed a lever that read security lock override. It was in the on position. I pulled it down. There was a deep, mechanical groan somewhere far away. Like a gate being lifted. Hope sparked in my chest. But it was short-lived. A loud slam echoed behind me. The electrical room door. It had shut on its own. I turned, flashlight trembling, and that's when I saw it. The figure, tall, distorted, hunched in the corner. No eyes. No mouth. Just a smooth, ashen face. It didn't walk, it hovered, and its limbs twitched unnaturally. It leaned forward slowly, as if testing my reaction. I bolted back into the hall, slamming the door behind me, not even bothering with the keys. I could hear it following, gliding, brushing the walls as it moved. I ran through the employee corridor, taking random turns, trying to stay ahead. I crashed into a vending machine, sending bottles clattering to the floor. I didn't stop. I didn't even look. That's when I found the stairwell. The door had an emergency release bar. I slammed into it, praying the override had worked, and it did. The door flew open, and I bounded up the stairs 2 at a time. I reached the main floor, bursting through another door that had previously been locked. The main hall was just ahead. But so was the sound. Not footsteps. A scraping. Like claws on tile. I turned and saw it again, moving between shadows, faster now. It was angrier. More desperate. It had followed me this far, and it wasn't about to stop. I sprinted for the front gate. The override must have triggered something because the security barrier was half raised now. Just enough room to slide under. I dove, scraping my elbow on the floor as I rolled through. Then, silence. No pursuit. No voice. Just the quiet hum of early morning electricity as the mall's systems began to wake up. I looked back under the gate. Nothing. But I knew it had been real. I stood, brushed myself off, and limped toward the parking lot exit. My phone buzzed, service restored. I had dozens of missed calls, the time blinking just past 6 a.m. The sun was rising. And I was alive. Barely. But I couldn't stop wondering, what if that override lever hadn't worked? What if I'd been just a few seconds slower? What if it was still watching me, from the other side? I didn't talk about it. Not at first. When the morning staff arrived and saw me sitting on the curb, clothes dusty, arms scraped, eyes hollow, they just stared. One of them asked if I was okay, and I gave some vague answer about a power outage and getting lost. They seemed satisfied. Or maybe they didn't want to get involved. I went home, locked the door, and slept with the lights on for 3 days straight. But the silence didn't help. It made me replay everything, over and over. The whisper in the radio. The figure with no eyes. The children's toys in the dark room. All of it haunted me. And I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew what I saw. What chased me. It was real. I went back a week later. Not inside the mall, just to the parking lot. I stood near the loading dock, watching people come and go. Life had moved on like nothing happened. But as I scanned the building, I noticed something strange. The window to the security office was blacked out. Not just covered, painted over. And there were new cameras installed. More than usual. I tried to get answers. Called mall management, posing as a freelance writer doing a piece on old shopping centers. They stonewalled me. No comments. No unusual incidents. Security system upgrades are routine. But I knew better. I started digging. Old newspaper archives, online forums, obscure Reddit threads. That's when I found the mention, just one, in a forgotten comment from 5 years ago. Worked at Westbrook Mall back in '08. Don't go near the West Annex. Tony found something down there. Never came back. Place was shut the next week. Tony. The name from the note in the storage room. I wasn't the first. And maybe I won't be the last. One night, out of desperation or maybe stupidity, I posted my experience. I laid it all out anonymously on a paranormal forum. I didn't expect anyone to respond. But someone did. Their message was simple. It watches those who survive. I don't go near malls anymore. I can't. Not even in daylight. I see shadows that shouldn't be there. Hear faint noises in the corners of quiet rooms. Sometimes, I find keys in places I never put them. It's like it left a mark. Sometimes, late at night, I wake up and swear I hear that same music box tune, playing from somewhere just outside my window. If you ever find yourself alone in a mall after hours, get out. Don't explore. Don't listen to the whispers. And whatever you do, don't look it in the eyes. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. And if you want more real encounters that'll keep you up at night, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because some places aren't meant to be explored.